I'm going to call the February 20th meeting of the West Des Moines City Council to order and invite you all to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. All righty, please sign in.
Four members present.
Hey, Ryan, have there been any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Your Honor.
Okay, can I get a motion on the agenda as distributed? Okay, so moved and seconded. Please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 2, Citizens Forum. Anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on any item that is not either part of public hearings or new business, please come to the podium here, give us your name and address for the record, and I ask that you keep it civil and respectful, and 5 minutes or under, please. Julia.
Hello, my name is Julia McGuire. Address is 919 45th Street. I just thought I'd come by. I just had this random Facebook memory pop up from 10 years ago, and I think, well, you're now Mayor Trimble and Mr. Trevelyan. You were both part of it, and it was, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was, I was asking if we could have parkland for community garden.
I
and you were
remember.
saying, as long as it's done right, I think this would be a good idea. And so I just wanted to come by. It just randomly popped up, so I thought I'd stop by and say thank you for your continued support, putting staff time and resources into it. It's just satisfying. I love that it's visible when you go by on the street or the trail. I really like that aspect of it. And yeah, I'm happy. It makes me proud to be part of West Des Moines. So
Well, thank
that's all
you
I wanted to
for,
say.
yeah, thank you. Kevin and I both remember that, and Julia, we appreciate you promoting that and pushing that, and we appreciate everything that Parks and Rec did to make that happen. It has been wildly successful, and we opened up more and more plots of land, I guess, for people to do the community garden. So thanks so much, and have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. Take care. Okay, anybody else for Citizens Forum? Okay, going once, going twice, seeing no movement. I'm going to go online. Anybody online for Citizens Forum, please hit *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Again, *6, not #6. People have a hard time unmuting themselves because they're hitting #6 constantly, and that does nothing for you. *6. Anybody there? Going once. Going twice. Gone. All right, we're going to move on to item 3, Mayor, Council, Manager Report, Other Entities Update, and we're going to start with 3A, Steve Freevert from the Historic Valley Junction Foundation, and there are a number of folks from the board that are here with him as well, so.
Thank you. Steve Freevert, Executive Director of the Historic Valley Junction Foundation. We were here about a year ago presenting our annual report from 21, and we're here tonight with audiovisual aids to do a capstone of 22. So we're going to play a video, first a brief video that we partnered with Catch Des Moines to produce last year. Then I'll give a brief overview of some of the facts and figures from last year, and then Steph will finish it off. So Ryan, fingers crossed. Let's see how this works.
I'm here if you need help.
Okay, that's a good thing. Get that one caught.
Oh, can we share the screen first?
Yeah, please do. Where was that? Oh. I said I would forget.
No worries. That's why I'm here. Now we can pull it up. I'll let you hit play when you're ready.
Okay. Now I know when Catch Des Moines did the video 2 weeks ago, it was kind of loud, so just be prepared. So. Oh. Oh, Ryan, need you again.
Scared me. I thought you threw your back out for a minute there, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it was. This is it.
There we go.
There we go.
I know it's a little bit of torment because you guys have a long meeting tonight. You're looking at all the food shots.
That was awesome. We wanted disco up here. That was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. It's a head bopper.
Good.
So now I'm going to try to get to the next part.
There you go.
So I've spoken about this before, but as part of our agreement with Main Street Iowa, the state coordinating agency, we report key statistics about Valley Junction on a regular basis. Used to be monthly and now it's quarterly, but we have those going back to 1987 when we were founded as a Main Street organization. So I'm going to be presenting facts and figures both from the last year, but also compare those to the last 35 years of our existence. So we start off with just our mission statement, approved and reviewed last year. So a little bit about Historic Valley Junction. As of December 31st last year, we had 138 employers, 1,162 full-time and part-time employees. The actual Main Street District is 5 blocks long and about 2 blocks wide. You can see the map on the right. We are a designated Iowa Great Place. We are a designated State Cultural and Entertainment District. And we also are a Great American Main Street Award winner from Main Street America. About our organization specifically, as I mentioned, we were established, it was back in April 1987. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We have 2 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. So a brief summary of our activities. This is kind of covers the 4 points of the Main Street approach that we engage in day after day. So business and property owner support is really the top of that list. Some of the things we've done in the last year are increase the number of merchant meetings. We opened up applications for Main Street Iowa's Open for Business business pitch competition. We actually awarded 2 applicants at the local level for that project. District marketing promotion, you just saw an example of what we do for that. We also do print advertising, radio advertising, television, billboard, and of course social media. District beautification, we work really closely with the city on things like the flower planters, the banners. Still working on some of the lighting problems or challenges in Railroad Park and on the arch, but we're seeing those get fixed slowly but surely. So making it an attractive district is also a big part of what we do. And as I mentioned, we have 2 full-time, 2 part-time staff. It's not enough people to really get everything done. So I do keep track of our volunteer hours, and like all the figures you're going to see here, this is a conservative count. I know the actual number is probably quite a bit higher, but we logged 3485 volunteer hours for our organization last year. Independent sector values a volunteer hour in Iowa in 2022 at $29.95 per hour. So that comes out to over $100,000 of value in volunteer time. Folks giving freely of their time, whether it's sitting in meetings, chairing committees, volunteering for events, and so on. Visitorship, this was really kind of cool to note. We did engage a company that does some geofencing to do an annual report, taking a look at our visitorship numbers. We've had a very, very rough guess at this before, but it was great to actually see some solid facts based on cell phone data. So we know we had 1.1 million total visitors to that 5-block long, 2-block wide Main Street district last year. That does not include residents or employees. 394,000 unique visitors to the district, so you can see that people are, on average coming about 3 times a year. Last year we started counting for the first time the number of visitors to Historic City Hall, which you guys of course own, and we operate as not only our offices but also as the Welcome Center for Valley Junction. And we had 5,645 visitors come through the door there. We also did 58 public events last year, all of them free. Obviously, that comes out to more than 1 a week. We do count Farmers Market and Music at the Junction as 2 separate events. They really do live and breathe separately, even though they take place adjacent to each other at the same time. As far as online engagement, at the end of last year, we had 23,832 Facebook followers, Instagram followers, 4,809. 4,314 people who have subscribed to our community e-blast. I send those out the first day of every month. I also send out a separate merchant e-newsletter every Friday morning, so they get that 51 weeks a year. Talking to the people who do our website analysis, they noted that we had an 18.1 increase in website traffic last year, which they thought was pretty remarkable. They also gave us figures on traffic by device, and I really want to note that our mobile traffic is 66.5%. So that's how many people are reaching us by cell phone. And they remarked that that was very, very high for an organization like ours. Private property investment, this is really important. We track this as well because it's a sign of people having confidence that Valley Junction is a good place to invest their dollars, and hopefully reinforcing the fact that you guys do a lot of work to increase that investment. We had 18 property improvements totaling almost $9 million last year, completed projects. That's everything from a new sign to a complete building rehab. 5 property purchases totaling $2.4 million last year. Total of that was $11 million in private property investment recorded. And then backing up, since 1987, volunteer hours, 175,000 volunteer hours have been recorded. We've seen 473 property improvements, 103 property purchases. So the total private property investment in Valley Junction since 1987 is $77.5 million, which is pretty remarkable. Also remarkable is the fact that we have another $4.4 million of investment underway right now. Not recorded, but that does not count projects that have not even started yet. So we're happy to engage with a really wide variety of stakeholders, with the city, with residents, with our business owners, our property owners, other nonprofits. Really together takes all of us to make Valley Junction such a great success. I'm going to leave the fun part to Steph Tranel, our 2023 board president.
All right, thank you, Steve. And thanks to all of you for allowing us time to speak tonight. Like Steve said, I'm Stephanie Tranel, and I own Red House Remodeling in the 400 block of 5th Street, and I have the privilege of serving as the current president for the foundation. The Historic Valley Junction Foundation kicked off 2022 with a relatively new executive director, an even newer events coordinator, new bylaws, 5 new board members, and 4 board members who were on the job for just a year. Yet we really kicked it up a notch, so much so that we were able to resume our full schedule of events. And these events are essential to the foundation financially and for bringing people to the district. They also provide, as Steve mentioned, free community entertainment that we'd be unable to provide without our major event sponsors. But our board is far more than free entertainment. We're a highly effective networking or working board that advocates for our property and business owners. The Historic Valley Junction Foundation follows Main Street Iowa's 4 points committee structure. This structure is key in that it allows the foundation to engage community members as committee members and helps us develop future leaders. Each of our committees has inspired new concepts and exciting projects. It's easy to see the results of the hard work of the foundation when you visit Historic Valley Junction, but I want to take a few minutes to share what our committees did in 2022 to support our mission. Chloe Bratvold is the owner of 135th Street, Candle Bar, and Pre-Loved Deluxe. She's the chair of our Business Improvement Committee, whose goal in 2022 was to strengthen and broaden the economic base of our Main Street district. The committee achieved this goal in part through a process for welcoming new businesses to our district by holding bi-monthly meetings for all business owners and by creating social media videos with business owners. Cirque Wonderland owner Felicia Coe chairs our promotions committee, and their goal was to market the Main Street district by establishing a unified image and encouraging an exciting variety of activities for the community. This group has special event oversight. They evaluate our events to make sure that they are effective. They also help plan Small Business Saturday, and they worked with Catch Des Moines for the video that Steve just showed. We also have a design committee that's chaired by myself, and it is to encourage the improvement of Main Street District's physical appearance. Steve mentioned our gorgeous planters and our many lighting projects and opportunities. We were especially thankful this year to receive funding from the city for the Sign Up program, which will allow 10 businesses to get new signage for their businesses at a greatly reduced cost. Finally, our organization committee strives to grow a strong Main Street organization using an increasing number of stakeholders in the implementation and funding of our programs. Iowa Economic Development Authority Director Debbie Durham said that the future of economic development must include an emphasis on place-based economic development. And I hope by sharing this information, you can see that the Historic Valley Junction Foundation is comprised of many people who are working very intentionally and strategically to further the economic development of our place. And we have a few things we'd like to just celebrate. You'll see it in our annual report, but City View Magazine has recognized Historic Valley Junction as the best shopping district for the 2nd year in a row, so we're very proud of that. The Chamber recognized the foundation as the best volunteers in West Des Moines, so yay us. City View and the Chamber recognized 11 of our local businesses in Valley Junction as the best of in their categories. And our 2021-22 president, Meredith Wells, who is here tonight, was honored with a much-deserved leadership award at the Main Street Iowa Awards. We've come a long way in 2022 and couldn't have done it without all of you and the rest of our stakeholders. We're genuinely thankful for the partnership we have with the city, and we look forward to a very prosperous and exciting 2023. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Are there any questions for either Stephanie or Steve?
I do just have a quick question. First, thank you for the presentation. Really good information. I'm curious, Steve, you had some data there talking about 1.1 million visitors and 394,000 unique visitors. And I know it sounds like you have a different maybe metric of identifying that this year as opposed to prior years. Do you have any sense, though, what the trend is? Is that pretty status quo? Is it up? Is it down? Do you have any sense?
So using geofencing data, we can go back actually several years, but you go back several years, we're talking COVID. So it's hard to really compare it to, say, 2020 or even 2019. I would say 2019 is kind of our base, and we want to grow from there. And I think it has grown since that. We will probably try to get some additional geofencing reports to kind of lay that out in detail. But certainly based on our web traffic, event attendance, things like that, I would expect that our visitorship is growing as well. We're also working right now, a couple of people have asked if we can track sales tax data, and we're kind of working through that process right now. And that, again, you know, when you compare, say, to 2020, it's going to be an anomaly, but that's going to be another metric that we can use to track the success of what we're doing.
Well, that's fun. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for the video and the slideshow and all that you guys are doing. It's fun to hear the partnership also with the Chamber of Commerce between the two of you. So
Definitely.
great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, it mentioned since 1987, it was $77 million, or I can't remember the number, I didn't write it down.
Yep.
Something like that.
$7.5, I think, $million.
Does that include city investment, or is that just,
That's investment in private property.
all right, just in private
Yeah.
property?
So, I think at some point, Main Street, Iowa changed how they measure that. It used to include all investment in private property, so that could be a state grant or a federal tax credit or city funding. A few years ago, they took that out of it. Now I think they're going to start counting actual public investment as well. So that metric has changed a little bit over the years. So that's a little bit of a caveat, but it's definitely a big number. It's for a
Oh, no doubt.
10 square block area.
Oh, absolutely. It's an enormous number. I remember Mayor Gare asked the question a couple of years ago, how much city investment has been, and so that's just the private investment, but I know
Yes.
the city has invested a ton of money down there, like after the flood, and just in so many other endeavors,
Yeah,
so.
it doesn't include any infrastructure,
Right.
anything like that.
So it just seems like everybody is really kind of focused on lifting up our most historic area. So thank you for sharing, Steve. I really appreciate it.
Anybody else? I would just say I'm extremely proud of Valley Junction and what's been going on down there and all that you guys have been doing down there. It's just unbelievable. Every time that I'm there, I don't need any of the data. I go down there and I see with my eyes. And I had to go down there to the Blind Pig to pick up something for my old fashions. And when I was down there, I mean, cars were lined up and down the street. People were going in and out of the stores, in and out of the restaurants, in and out of the bars, and it was hopping. And I've just, you know, I'm not like Kevin. I haven't lived here my whole life, but I've been here my whole adult life, and I have never seen it like that in all the time that I've been here. And so what we are all collectively doing is working. And it's really making a huge difference to make Valley Junction, which was already amazing, even better. So I'm just extremely proud of everything going on down there. And I would just say in very proper English, you ain't seen nothing yet.
We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Councilman Trevilian for all of his service on the Valley Junction Foundation Board. He served for years and years and has had a significant contribution down there, and it is his ward. So I just want to thank you, Kevin, for that, for all you've done. So, okay, moving on, Mayor, Council, Manager report. We'll start with Councilman Lotz.
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
Okay, Councilman Trevilian.
Nothing this time, Mayor.
Okay. Councilman McKinney.
I'll keep it brief. I just want to shout out to the Chamber for their annual event this last week. It was a fantastic event, great turnout, just really well done. So thank you for all you're doing.
Councilman Hudson.
Echoing that, what a great chamber event. Everybody coming together means there's so much enthusiasm in West Des Moines. We did have an FNA meeting a week and a half ago or so, and we were graced with the presence of, for the very first time, I'm told, for our IT director, Joe Menke, who came to a finance administration meeting. There he is back there, bringing some great news because we really do like the Recplex, but if you have been in there, you'll notice that your cell service goes from really hero to zero because of all the lead we put in the roof. I don't know, but that just means it's a sturdy building. However, we're looking at increased opportunities for cell phone service to exist in the Recplex, and that was great. And so Joe brought some ideas, and so we're going to be moving forward with those ideas, right, Joe? Yeah, there we go. Absolutely.
Very enthusiastic, and I understand that what we're doing there is also going to help our public services facility as well. That's great. That is awesome.
Yeah, I looked at it from, there's the two angles. There's the consumer angle, because I'm usually watching my son take ice skating lessons.
Sure.
And then everybody else brought up as well, there's a public safety angle to this too, which is also, of course, incredibly important. So that's coming forward, and that's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that report. City Manager Tom Hadden.
In front of you tonight is a legislative update produced by Jamie Letzring. It's pretty self-explanatory if you go through this. I'm told, every week we kind of run around here and with our hair on fire with what's been introduced or what's coming down the pike. So we're monitoring all this information, and we have people on this dais too who are aware of it. But if you have any questions, let me know. We try to keep our powder dry, because if we get overexcited, then it just loses the sleep needlessly. So we'll see how this all goes.
Well, and I would say that Tom and I also tried to meet with one of our representatives to discuss the legislation as well, but it didn't work out. We had two different meetings, and unfortunately, each time, it just didn't seem to work out. But Tom and I had a nice breakfast together and caught up on city goings-on, so that's good. The only thing I would add for my report is I just wanted to say the same thing. Kudos to Catherine and her team for the awesome West Des Moines prom that we had. It was a huge success. Fun was had by all, and everybody was dressed to the nines, and it was just a great event for West Des Moines. So thank you so much for that. Okay, moving on to item 4, consent agenda. We will, of course, pull 4S. Are there any other items that any council person would like to pull and have a separate vote on?
4C5 and 4P1.
Okay, 4C5 and 4P1. Anything else? Okay, if not, I would take a motion to move the remainder.
Move for the remainder.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, 4C5, Come and Go LC, doing business as Come and Go, number 66, 5308 University Avenue, Class E Retail, alcohol license renewal.
Just a potential conflict there, Mayor.
Okay, does somebody want to move that item?
Move for approval.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
McKinney, looks like you voted yes.
Oh,
We may need to
my
do,
apologies.
we can do a revote on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's walk it back.
Yeah, thank you. This is a conflict because I work with them, not because I'm interested in the alcohol license.
Okay,
3 yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
all right. Item 4P1, a resolution for approval of professional service agreement, digital enterprise, private streets deployment phase 2. Councilman McKinney.
Yep, I also work with Google, and of course,
Okay.
potential conflict here.
All right.
Motion
would
to
some-
approve that.
Okay, is there a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
3 yes, 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, item 4S is a recognition, proclamation recognition of Sam Kranovich. As many of you know, if not all of you, because Sam just about knew all of the 70,000 residents, I think, that lived in this city, and they certainly knew Sam. But Sam Kranovich, a dear friend of all of ours, passed away on February 6th, and he was just a very, very special human being to so many people in this community. And so we wanted to honor Sam with this proclamation. He will be very, very greatly missed. So I guess what I would like at this point in time is take a moment of silence for Sam, and then I am going to have Councilman Greg Hudson read the proclamation. Then I'll ask for a motion in a second. So if we could please have a moment of silence for Sam Kranovich. Thank you. Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we had the meeting tonight, I asked the mayor if I could read this proclamation. You know, when I first came to Valley High School 17 years ago, Sam was one of the first people that I met, and he was always a friendly face to have around Valley, and we will miss him dearly for so many reasons. And it's certainly my honor and privilege to read this, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas Sam Kranovich served the city of West Des Moines as a volunteer, paid on call and part-time firefighter for the West Des Moines Fire Department for 32 years, and whereas Mr. Kranovich had many notable accomplishments during his distinguished career with the West Des Moines Fire Department, including serving as past president of the West Des Moines Firefighters Association, earning numerous certifications and helping at many fire department events, including the annual Pancake Breakfast, Citizens Fire Academy, Easter egg hunt, memorial service, and many others. Whereas Mr. Kranovich graduated from Valley High School in 1973 and went on to serve at his alma mater for over 40 years in the positions of student supervisor, study hall, parking lot monitor, and football ticket coordinator, and he served on the school safety committee. And whereas Mr. Kranovich was well known for helping anyone and was passionate about working with the students and faculty on all school activities from band trips to props and lighting for school plays, and whereas Mr. Kranovich was inducted into the Valley High School Hall of Honor in April of 2022 for his many roles and accomplishments over his years with the school. And whereas Mr. Kranovich lent his time and talent to serving as president and committee member of many community organizations, including West Des Moines Dollar for Scholars, West Des Moines Lions Club, Iowa Senior Olympic Organizing Committee, and various Iowa State Fair committees. And whereas Mr. Kranovich was recognized for his long history of community service when he was voted the 2012 West Des Moines Citizen of the Year, and whereas Mr. Kranovich continued to serve his community until his untimely passing on February 6, 2023. And whereas West Des Moines is undoubtedly a better city because of the contributions from Sam Kranovich, and whereas the mayor and City Council of West Des Moines wish to express their condolences to the family and friends of Sam Kranovich and express their appreciation for his lifetime of dedication to serving his community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that on this 20th day of February 2023, the City Council, staff, and citizens of the City of West Des Moines hereby recognize and honor Sam Kranovich for the positive impact he had on the lives of so many West Des Moines residents, and furthermore declare the 29th day of January each year to be Sam Kranovich Day in West Des Moines.
I would go to Councilman Trevilian to make a motion. I know Kevin and Sam were very close and go back a very long way.
Yes, I will move this.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
And I know that we've got two special people in the audience today, Sam's cousin, Ann, and her husband. And I would just ask that you guys come down and take a picture with myself and the council. And we've got a proclamation of recognition that we'd like to present to you. Come on down. Anybody else that wants to get in this? Chief Lou, anybody else? This is for you guys, for that special human being named Sam, who touched so many lives. We are so grateful to have had him in our lives. He used to be in, he did so many different roles. He was even in the booth here, remember that, running the sound and the equipment. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing Sam with us. Thank you. And before we move on, I'd like to thank Ryan Jacobson, our city clerk, and Chief Lou for helping write this proclamation to honor Sam, as well as David Maxwell from Valley High School. Like I said, he touched so many lives, and, you know, when I sit here and think, I don't know if there's somebody that was more famous in this city than Sam. I mean, everybody knew him, from kids to adults, and he just was such a neat individual. I really enjoyed him very much and going to miss him a lot, so.
Well, it was talked about, Mr. Mayor, during the funeral, that, and I'm not exactly sure how many years Sam was there. I know I graduated 43 years ago, and he was there when I was at Valley, so it's got to be close to 45, if it wasn't going to be 45 this year, maybe.
Wow.
But if you think about the number of kids that went through Valley alone, how many kids he had interaction with, then you put in the parents, and then you put in the football games and everything else that he was involved with, and even the State Fair Parade. And when I was on the State Fair Parade last year with the Shrine, he was there doing crowd control. And he just, anywhere in the metro, I think, that anybody needed help, he was there. Not to mention everything that he did for the West Des Moines Fire Department. So again, it was an honor to have known him and be able to call him friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, every January 29th is a day that we're declaring Sam Kranovich Day. January 29th, I believe, was his birthday. So we thought that'd be a special day to honor Sam. And, you know, I would encourage our residents to take note of Sam, look at what Sam did, look at all the volunteering that he did in the community, all the lives that he touched, and come up with something special you can do every January 29th in honor of Sam. So, okay, moving on. And you guys can feel free to leave. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, you know.
But you can.
But you can if you want to. I mean, it is really exciting stuff. So, okay, moving on. Item 5, old business. We have no old business. Item 6, public hearings. Item 6A, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider Prairie Fire southeast corner of I-80 and Ute Avenue amend comprehensive plan land use map to establish multi-use medium detached residential and mixed residential and open space land use initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
February 3rd, 2023, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
The Plan and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 4 yes, with 1 abstaining and 2 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the comp plan amendment.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6A, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no one. Anybody online that would like to address the council on item 6A, please hit star 6 and unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, hearing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution for approval of the comprehensive plan, land use amendment, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion for approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just say, I know a lot of time was spent on this. There were initially some parties that were concerned about things, but I know there are a lot of folks here at the city in terms of working on the location of streets. So I know, Brian, you spent a lot of time on this, and Lynn, I know we've talked about the land use, and in talking with the interested parties, I understand there is a agreement amongst everybody. So I appreciate the time and effort that went into this to get everybody aligned on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, any other discussion before we vote? Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6B, this is a time and place for a public hearing to consider amendment number 1 to agreement for private development with Keystone Phase 2 LLC, initiated by Keystone Phase 2 LLC. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
February 10th, 2023, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6B, please come up to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no one, I will go online. Anybody online that would like to address the council, please hit star 6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, hearing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed. We have got a resolution for approval of Amendment Number 1 of Phase 2 to the development agreement. There are no outstanding issues, and this was approved unanimously by Finance Administration City Subcommittee as well.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
You know, this went through a year ago. It's been a little bit. However, I think it's important to understand that, you know, when it comes to development, it's good for the city to be flexible. And I think that's what we see here, to clarify some things, to be flexible so everyone can move forward together. And I think that's what we see here, even if it takes a little bit of time.
I agree. Thank you so much. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6C, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider a resolution approving the FY 23-24 maximum property tax dollars initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, did you please read the date the notice is published?
February 3rd, 2023, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on item 6C, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Okay, anybody online, hit *6, give us your name and address for the record. Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution for approval of the FY 23-24 maximum property tax dollars levied, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6D, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider South Service Area Segment 4 and 10 sewers initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
February 3rd, 2023, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on item 6D, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no movement, I'm going to go online. Anybody online, please hit *6 and give us your name and address for the record. Okay, hearing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got 2 resolutions and a motion which we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I just appreciate the savings. Savings are good.
Absolutely, amen. Pretty significant, too.
Thank you.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6E, this is time and the place for a public hearing to consider City Hall lighting control upgrades initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
February 3rd, 2023, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on item 6E, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Okay, anybody online that would like to address the council, please hit *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address. Okay, hearing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And again, we've got 2 resolutions and a motion which we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues. Someone want to move it?
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Three yes, 1 no.
Okay, item 7, new business, item 7A, Fox Ridge Veterans Parkway and Southeast 25th Street, approve a revised preliminary plat creating 195 lots for single-family residential development and 136 footprint lots for medium-density residential development. 6, boy, my mic is really cutting in and out tonight, I've noticed. 6 outlots and 9 street lots, D.R. Horton, Iowa, LLC, and 4-Star USA Real Estate Group, Inc. We've got a resolution for approval of the revised preliminary plat. There are no outstanding issues, and this was approved unanimously by both planning and zoning and development and planning. But there is, however, one condition of approval, and that is related to the appropriate access is being provided to the property as well as water prior to any above-ground construction from happening. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 7B, motion to approve the design criteria, Ashworth Road restriping 1st Street through 19th Street to be merged with 2022 pavement marking and on-street bike marking program. We've got a motion to approve the design criteria for Ashworth Road restriping from 1st through 19th, and there are no outstanding issues. This is an issue that we have had many hearings on, many public meetings, and this is essentially what we are down to, which is looking to restripe 1st through 19th, making that 3 lanes, 3 12-foot lanes, and studying how that goes, and then making a decision going forward. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'm going to make a motion, but I want to amend this.
Okay?
Under the background, it says that they're going to restripe it to 3 lanes to observe performance for a stretch of time.
Okay?
So that means nothing. Is it an hour? Is it a month? Is it a year? So what I want to do is I want to amend this to say that this is for a 1-year period, so we can gather good data on this over all the different seasons, and then make a decision of whether or not this is going to work or not.
Okay?
Kevin, where's that language? I'm looking, which paragraph are we on?
Under background, the last sentence.
Oh, for a stretch of time. Okay, I see.
I guess, Brian, if you could come up here real quick. I know that this is not going to be restriped right away should this pass. It's going to take a little bit, I think, to restripe this. Darn these microphones. So could you just kind of walk us through? I mean, it's going to be restriped at what, roughly what time? I mean, are we talking about June, July of this year?
Right, Brian Hemseth, city engineer. We will be doing the restriping around the July timeframe. It's going to have to coincide with some of the work we're doing on the A Street between I-235 and Clegg Road, just because of how some of the traffic patterns are going to work. We don't want to do it when the traffic patterns are just a little goofy in that area. And we will. July is when the traffic patterns will kind of come back to more normal.
And that's even more reason to do this for a year's time, because there's going to be other roads that are going to have different construction going on, or whatever it might be, whether it's a road project, utility work, whatever it might be. And I think if we're going to wait until 8th Street is done, which ends at Clegg Road, doesn't go to Ashworth, then this needs to extend for a year's time to make sure that we've hit every possible scenario that might be out there that's going to affect the travel of Ashworth Road.
I think the thought was maybe not a year's time, but 9 months to study this, and we thought that might be enough time to take a look at it and figure out if it was working or not, and then we would be basically just getting into the next construction season, and we could make a decision at that point in time. But a motion has been made. Are there any other questions before I ask for a second on the motion?
I think the stretch of time, this strikes me as giving the city some flexibility. Also, when it comes to observe performance for a stretch of time, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, I think we're going to be observing it regardless for a while. And depending on, Kevin, what you're describing when it comes to reconstruction, like how long will it take? Like, I prefer not to specify, only because maybe I don't think it would take 15 months, but what if it did? 12 months, 9 months, I don't know the exact time it would take, so.
But more importantly, it's going to be a shorter period of time. That's my concern. We're going to look at this thing for 3 months or 6 months, say, yep, see, it's working, and away we go. We need a time frame in that.
I-
And if you're talking 9 months, what's another 3?
But in that time frame, you're going to have the ability to influence that if it's left open-ended.
You've also got the ability to shorten it.
If you time box it now and make it rule, I think that, I don't know that I agree with that. I
Then
think
why not a minimum of something?
That would
So
be, I would
amend it-
prefer that.
I would amend it to a minimum of 12 months.
Okay, so the motion is, the motion is to study this for a minimum of 12 months.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second? If not, I'll go back to another motion.
I'll second
Hold on one
that.
second. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to study it for a minimum of 12 months. Okay.
Before we vote, do we discuss?
Yeah, I want to continue discussion.
Yes, we can discuss, and I'll give you a time, sir, to come up and make a remark.
Hang on,
Hold on
yet.
hold on
Not
one
yet.
second. Let's hear some discussion. I guess let me start. The only thing that worries me about 12 months is that if we make a decision at that point, we're well into the next construction season, no matter what we do. So that seems like that may be stretching a little far, in my opinion. But anyway. Greg.
Brian, what is your recommendation for a minimum that you would like to look at this?
We had suggested around the January of 2024 timeframe, which is less than 12 months. But what that was giving us was, once we had that decision made, then we had the time to be able to purchase right-of-way, to be able to get into the 2025 construction season, to be able to get that road completed. And we're starting to push up against that time where that road is going to start to deteriorate to the point where we really need to get in there and get something reconstructed, whatever it might be. So I'm we can probably make that work.
But minimum 9 months would be a little bit better?
I would say 9 months. I get where Kevin's coming from, though, to basically go through all the seasons
Yes.
and all that. I think by the time you get to, say March or April, you've probably seen everything you need to see.
But if you think about this, so if we make the determination that it doesn't work, we're still going to have to leave it as 3 lanes until spring rolls around, so you can remove the paint lines and put it back to 4 lane. That's my reason for it needs to be minimum 12 months. Part of the
Okay.
reason.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second. Any other
Hold on,
discussion?
yeah, one more discussion, a little more, just a little more. So if we make it a minimum of 12 months, that pushes us into the next construction season.
We were going to be into 2025 regardless, just because of the amount of time it takes to get right-of-way acquisition, and it's just tightening up that time frame. If we push it to it would be July to July. I have my reservations on whether we could get it done in the 25 construction season.
Why not move the striping up
To June.
early? Why not April or May? I mean, as soon as the snow is out of the area, then take the stripes off, restripe it, and away we go. Why July?
Because of the traffic patterns that are going to exist, there could be a significant amount of traffic pushed down to Ashworth that it could potentially make it look like it's not going to work. And because we would need to put signals in certain places, and that's not something that we want to do at this time. So if we use that as
We'd be measuring something that's not a normal situation.
correct, that's what we were trying to avoid.
So I'm going to go back to, so Kevin, I seconded your motion to support that, but I'm not sure that I'm going to vote for it because I understand, part of me wants to leave this open for staff to help make that decision. And if we box this in this way, I'm worried we could be forcing a decision that maybe isn't the wisest one. So
But at the same time, if you don't put a minimum on it, then it could be 3 months, and we think it works, so away we go. That's
gonna
my
get to
concern.
see
And I
that
think
data.
you're going to hear that from residents as well.
you're going to get to see that data, though.
We'll be at least into January before we have, January of '24 is when we were planning on making that determination. We'll have good summer months, we'll have good time with school in, and then we'll even have a few months we'll have at least a month there in November when 8th Street is completely open, and we can observe it in November when there's typically no snow. And, and if something happens where we're not feeling like we got enough data, we'll move it out. We're not going to make a decision just because, we just want to, with
Yeah.
lack of a better word, ram it down someone's throat.
Okay.
That's not what we're.
All right, well, we got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Otherwise, we will
We got a
put it to a
resident.
vote.
We got a resident that wants to talk.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Come on up. Thank you. Come on up to
You gotta come up to the mic,
podium.
Bill.
Give us your name and address for the record.
Dell Christensen, 932 32nd Street. The last meeting, in the changing to 3 lanes, was a big important part of widening at 19th, 22nd, and 23rd Street for left turn lanes. Is that going to be done with this test, or
No.
what kind of a test are you
No.
going to have?
No, we're looking at studying 1st through 19th, restriping it to be 3 12-foot lanes, study it for a minimum time, whether that be 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever happens here tonight. Take a look at how that works in this segment of Ashworth, and then come back to this body to make a decision as to what we're doing going forward, based on what we've observed at that point in time.
So at that time, then the decision will be whether to put in left turn lanes and widening, taking a part of
Yep.
the properties from those people.
Yep, the thought was we're going to see how this works in this segment, which is the easier segment, see what happens, see how the traffic patterns are, see what the issues are, see if this makes sense, and then reevaluate it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? Anybody else before we put this to a vote?
Can I just ask, well, somebody else? Brian, you say that regardless of what happens, you're going to, whenever a decision's made, whether it's in January of 2024 or July 1 of 2024, construction, whatever direction it goes, would be in 2025?
More than likely 2025. It could get pushed out to 2026 depending on right-of-way. And depending on what we select, there would be potentially additional design that needs to be done. And I don't want to commit to getting it done in the 2025 construction season.
That's fair.
If
I
that's
guess
the case.
the reason I ask is, if we're going to err on the side of timing, and we have time, I'd rather err on the side of having the data for a longer period of time than less. And so what I'm trying to get a better sense of is if this were to go to July 1 of 2024, is that detrimental from the integrity of the road and what ultimately could happen?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
When it comes down to it, we want to make sure we're making the right decision and whatever the council's comfortable with. I know that, everybody on the council knows the engineering thoughts behind this. We're comfortable with it without doing this, but, we are doing it to make sure that we've got all of our i's dotted and t's crossed, so.
All right.
Now I'm confused, sorry. What I thought I heard was, when we have the data, then we'll know and move forward, but we can't let this go another year. But what I'm hearing you say is if it goes to 2026, it's okay. Because I seconded Kevin's motion, but I wasn't sure if I was going to support it yet. Now I'm hearing that a 12-month time box is probably okay.
I don't have a crystal ball as to exactly when that portion of road is going to deteriorate, but I've been told that it needs to be done sooner than later. So anytime that if we can get it in 25, I would recommend getting it in 25. But if we just can't get the right of way, I keep looking at Dick because we got to work together to get the right of way.
Yeah.
If we have issues getting the right of way, we may have to push it off a year.
I mean, it's not like you're going to have a 12-foot deep pothole in there in a year.
No, Brett will fill them.
Construction season starts in the spring.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
So it pushes it several months past what you would ideally want, where you would ideally want to be at. We got to have right-of-way acquisition. We've got, different funding that we're going to be going for, no matter what this road looks like, to try to get the funding applied to this. It's just, that timing might not be ideal.
And we may be able, if we get hit in another construction season, we may be able to get some things done, like get some utilities moved or something in that half of the construction season. So the next construction season, we can hit the ground running and get
Because it seems like to me, you don't have to do it all at one time. Like, you can do some of this stuff.
some
while-
of
right?
it. Some of it you can do behind the curb, but it's pretty narrow through there, so there'll be lane closures and things like that that'll be
Yeah.
a pain. But
Yeah, I mean, it is
yeah,
what it is.
It is what it is. You bet.
All right, well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't have a vote. You guys know that, and I hear that all the time. But I think Kevin makes a decent point. I think there should be probably a minimum. I think that minimum probably is better at minimum of 6 months. I'd be fine minimum of 9 months. I think a year maybe is a little bit long. I don't know that it's ridiculous, but I think 6 months, 9 months would make more sense to me. That said, I don't vote. We've got a motion and a second on the table. I'm going to call this to question. If this doesn't pass, I will ask for another motion, another second, until we get something that does pass.
So Brian, just a clarification, if it was July 1 of 2024, that would be your 12 months that Kevin is kind of motioning for. That's not a problem.
It's not ideal,
It's not ideal. Okay.
but I mean, if that's what you choose,
So you're saying, but April 1 would be better?
yes.
January 1 would be super?
It would be, but,
Okay.
I get where Kevin's coming from, and I understand, and I don't want us to be second guessed. And, that'll just draw it out longer.
Keep in mind, it's a minimum. I think everybody up here probably supports a minimum of 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Where you're into the questions now is this year. And if
Yeah.
you weren't, then we wouldn't have all these questions.
I like
So
that.
the year has created all these questions.
Speaking of question, you got one in the back.
But we're going to put this to a vote, okay? You've got a motion and a second.
Russ,
Come on up, come on up. You got 3 minutes.
I won't take that long.
Appreciate it.
My name is Charlotte Weisenthorn. I live on Ashworth Road. And when you're talking about 6 months, I happen to live where people drive down to school, Dowling one way,
Sure.
Sacred Heart another. 6 months, I can tell you, when children aren't going to school, the traffic on Ashworth where I live is quite different. The traffic when school starts in the fall is a totally different thing than summer traffic. So
Right.
when you say 6 months, I think of what I see outside. And so you have 3 months where nobody's going to Dowling and nobody's going to Sacred Heart, and there's nobody outside my door. But then we start the next 6 months, and it's just different. Next 3 months.
Yep. Yep.
And the beginning of school is just crazy on
Right,
Ashworth.
and you're going to get that. You're going to have July when it gets restriped, you're going to have August, and then August 23rd, they're back. So you get like a month and a half, and then kids are in school.
Right, and so I guess what I'm saying is maybe 9 months would be better.
Yeah.
Because you'd have maybe a 50-50, a summer month
Sure,
time and what
sure.
it looks like, and then a school month time.
Yep.
And, yeah, you add those
Yeah.
Dowling kids in spring, and I'll tell you, it's hopping over there. God love them.
And that's the thing, we're going to miss the springtime if you only do it for 9 months.
If you
That's
only
my
do it
point.
for 9 months?
Yeah, July to,
Well,
Spring,
you'll
summer,
have,
fall?
you're gonna,
you'll have spring.
okay,
Spring, summer, fall.
all right, you're right.
It will end in spring. It will end in spring.
But I just,
Yeah.
I think you'll get a 50-50 if you only have 6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
yep, thank you so much. And again, remember, it's a minimum of 6 months. We could say a minimum of 6 months, and we could end up going a year because we don't have the data. We could say a minimum of 6, and we can go 7 months. We can go 8, 9. Minimum of a year, you're going a year, and you could be going 18 months.
Just to explain my upcoming no vote, I like the idea of 9 months, and if it's 3-1, that's completely fine. I like the idea of 9 months because from April and May, you'll get the same data that you get in September and October because it's just the opposite side of the year. There's no snow, it's school time, so I would rather do a length of 9 months. So, but
Sounds
if I'm
good.
outvoted,
Can I
that's
explain
fine.
mine too? Because I think I actually like leaving it open-ended. I totally understand where Kevin's going with this. But I think we can trust staff, and we'll have a voice on this too when it comes up. So I don't think there's a reason to box it in.
Okay, anybody else before we vote? All right, please vote.
Two yes, two no. Motion fails.
Okay, does somebody else want to make another
I'll
motion?
make a motion that we do this for a minimum of 9 months.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please vote. Just kidding. Go
It's fine.
ahead.
No, well, I'll vote here. I just want to say thank you to Brian and Mayor Tom and so many people that put a lot of time and patience into hearing me and a lot of other people on this particular issue. And so I just thank you for this.
Well, and I would echo that. I want to thank the entire council. I want to thank all the residents. I want to thank staff for going through a lot of hours of discussion, trying to figure out where we wanted to go, and ultimately ending here with the pilot to see how this goes. I think this is a smart way to go. We can observe this before we make any other moves, and I'm excited to get these last words out of my mouth and to see you guys vote. All right, so with that, please go ahead, Doug.
Why are we time boxing this again?
Yeah. Because
We don't trust staff? or-
I just think we need a minimum time frame on it. I think it's going to send a better message to our residents if we're putting a minimum on this so that they are comfortable knowing that we're putting the true research into this to determine if it works or not.
Okay, any other discussion?
We started the vote.
Yeah.
Okay, please vote.
It's weird that Ashworth is causing a lot of discussion. So
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah, wow.
3 yes, 1 no.
It's been some of the most discussion that we've had since I've been here. Okay, and that was long enough discussion that I don't even know where we are. Okay, item 7C, amend city code to adjust stormwater fees and charges. We've got an ordinance for the first reading. There are no outstanding issues, and this was approved unanimously by the Finance Administration Subcommittee. Somebody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa by amending Title IV, Chapter 8B pertaining to stormwater management charges.
Okay, who made the initial motion?
I did, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 8A, receive, file, and refer. 8A,
You
we've
skipped
got.
7D.
7D.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item 7D, we've got a resolution establishing the public hearing regarding the FY '23-24 operating capital budgets, as well as ordering the city clerk to publish the notice of the hearings, and there are no outstanding issues. Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion at all? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, now, item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. Item 8A, we will receive and file the 2023 West Des Moines Waterworks budget amendment. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters that any council person would like to discuss at this time? And if you say Ashworth Road, I'm going to say no. Okay, with that, we are going to adjourn into executive session, and then we will come back into the chamber for our workshop. So with that, we are adjourned.
we're still here. You guys just hanging out waiting for us?
Some of us have, some of us left.
That was that,
Hey, Brian.
twice during the
Brian.
closed session, the lights.
We went
automatically
Sure
turned
glad
off.
to get those lights fixed.
And I went back and pressed the button and it didn't work.
Do you want to?
Perhaps it was from for the Lowe's lights, so the Menards lights.
The clapper is $19.99 at Walgreens.
All right, Tim, let's do it, man.
I guess it's just us.
Which less we're doing it, we're going out.
We don't have a quorum.
Who needs them?
I'm coming.
4.
That's only what, $87 million? 89 million for it. We can do this by 10 minutes.
La-di-da.
I would love that.
It's all right.
It's gonna happen, Jamie. Believe it.
We were gonna record it while you guys were in there, and then you could just watch it on the
You
screen.
should have just left it play,
I
like just
know.
hit play and then all left. Are any of these mics on right now?
Yes.
That one is.
We were muted earlier. Thank goodness somebody hit mute while we were all in the back. Sally had to go home because she's got a toothache.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You're gonna unmute it when it starts, right?
What's that?
It's still muted for the,
On Teams?
yeah, or do you just turn the Teams off?
Those guys are running Teams in there, so.
Do we need it? Or do we just turn it off for the workshops?
I mean, we're still recording.
But it was, you couldn't hear anything. Like I went to the YouTube page and started, and it was muted.
We talked about just kind of putting it on pause.
That's good because if they would have picked up our mics, it would have been
Didn't
bad.
want any of that.
Hello, welcome back.
Here we go. Tim,
100%.
take it away. Capital improvement budget.
You're good on your end, closing the other meeting and all that other stuff.
Where already, yeah, we closed out.
Perfect. This is the workshop, Tim Stiles, Finance Director. I did a handout that's on everybody's desk there. It's the same thing I mailed out on Friday, which is a summary line by line of the 23-24 capital improvement program. First thing you'll probably notice is it's sorted by the source of funds. We did that intentionally, and when we talk through, I'm just going to start off by talking about real quickly the pots of money that we have and how we determine the amounts that we have available. And then I'm going to turn it over to Parks, and Sally was going to present, but she had a toothache and had to go home. So I think Ryan and maybe Marco are going to jump in and kind of fill you in on a few of the key Parks projects. And then Brian's going to hit just a few of the higher profile engineering projects, and then we'll take questions on anything you have.
I was going to say, for efficiency purposes, write down the questions as you think of them and let Tim finish his presentation, and then we'll do questions at the end. So write them down.
That pertains to you too.
I know. I know. I'm saying it for me. Okay, go ahead.
Yep, and all I'd say at the beginning, and then I'm going to talk through just briefly about some of the pots of money, because some of them have some restrictions. This CIP, what you're going to be asked to approve on March 20th is just the 24 amounts, the FY24 amounts. The other
the current amount and then the years out that we labeled potential are just so we can get a big picture looking out approximately 5 years of what we're gonna do or what we have planned. But the only thing that's actually approved is the line that says proposed, the column FY 23-24. And so that's where we focused, because our CIP has, you know, engineering and parks have many other projects that aren't here. We only listed the ones that have funding in that 23-24 fiscal year for the most part. There might be a couple of them that we just did it to clarify where they're pieces of a different project. Anyway, we started this projects, listing these projects, putting these projects together clear back in, I guess, August, September. Engineering and parks and public services do a ton of research and estimating these numbers as best they can. They're all estimates, you know, until we actually put things out for bids. But I did want to recognize, I guess, real quick, Brian, Jason, Ben, Nick, and Eric, primarily from engineering, put together a lot of the projections. And then on the public works, public services staff, Brett, Gary Rank, Chuck Thomas do a lot of work on the buildings, especially needs for buildings. Parks has their own process that goes through their Parks Board. Their Parks Board recommends, but Marco, Dave Sadler, Sally and Ryan do a lot of that legwork. And then the budget team kind of pulls things together and kind of mashes out what we think we can and can't afford. So real quick, the first page and on to the second page of the handout is our list of projects that we're going to intend to fund with general obligation bonds. And I asked PFM to give a good hard look because in years past, we kept that number around $10 million. And because of valuation growth and because of, you know, we've been pretty smart with our funds over the years. And frankly, a lot of the things that are in TIF that don't hit the general fund, we still get the debt service money. So PFM's estimated that going forward, we can borrow about $13 million a year. And so that's what we based, you'll see on the middle of the second page, we're right about $13 million for the 2 years. You know, I wanted to look out a little bit farther. One key project that's on here that I wanted to talk about, and maybe Brian will touch on, is our pavement repairs, because we've kind of outspent what we can do in just paying with road use tax. So we've had to pull some of that and use general obligations for pavement repairs because our pavement network's growing and because costs are rising. I think I shared in my earlier workshop that about 20% increase in price of pavement and pavement repairs. So you'll see it's actually line number 20 there. If you look at the numbers on the side, is that pavement rehab, and you'll see $2 million in the GO bonds, and then the balance of it is over in road use tax, which, flipping forward, I guess, these guys, Parks and Engineering, are going to get into details about the specific projects. I'm not going to cover all of them. I just wanted to hit that one because it's a kind of a split deal, which is newer. On the second page, we've got projects, mostly the quality of life, improvements that we will pay with local option sales tax that are hitting. We've got some additional improvements to the Recplex planned, which is some concession amenity like storage, some bleacher things, some things like that. Things that after we've been in it for a year, we figured out we need to do a little bit more. And then some of the Five Waters things, mostly the Athene Bridge is there. And then the plan is for the Athene Bridge, the bottom of page 2 there, what we can't afford to do out of pocket, we will sell GO bonds backed by local option sales tax because we want to move that project forward, you know, this construction season. So you can see at the bottom, we're estimating we're going to sell $3 million of bonds. And what that does is it will lower the amount available in future years. That's $2.5 million in the middle there. We'll lower that by the bond payments, which is the same thing we did. We sold bonds for the Recplex backed by local option sales tax. So I'm anticipating it might be $500,000 a year that we'll have those bond payments for a few years on the Athene Bridge. But we want to get it done. We've got the donations, we've got the plans, we've got the go-ahead to get it done. Page 3 is road use tax at the top. And you can see we use a bulk of our road use tax to pay for maintenance projects. None of these are overly sexy, but they all need to be done. We all are also paying off the remaining balance of the Public Services West building with any extra road use tax that we get. At the bottom of that is kind of a tentative list of TIF projects. Now none of these will move forward unless we have development agreements and increment in place. For example, there's a lot of them there for the Grand Experience. If we don't have a development agreement for some reason in place, by the time the budget gets approved, we'll probably take those out and put them back in it through an amendment or at such time that we get a development agreement signed. Page 4, we're not planning to spend much out of the general fund this next year, just one small project, and it's for a project that Waukee is paying for, and we're sharing in that 98th Street project. I just didn't want to tap into the general fund for CIP because there's a lot of unknowns on the operating side with the general fund right now. And then the bottom two things on page 4 are the sewer enterprise and the stormwater enterprise. And I feel like we've trimmed those down a little bit. You know, the south service area is the big dollar one there, which I know we've talked about at Finance Committee and some other, so I think there was an item on tonight for that. And then page 5 is the fiber enterprise, which is, we will be done with that construction, initial construction, but we will have to fund construction of new areas. As areas get annexed or new subdivisions get built, we will have to dedicate some funds for that. And then maintenance on the fiber network will take some money as well. And there are revenues, it's an enterprise fund, there are revenues to offset that, just like the sewer and the stormwater and the Recplex. The reason I didn't put those Recplex improvements up into the Recplex Enterprise Fund is that funds, in my mind, it's kind of like Bambi going out on the ice for the first time. It's a brand new enterprise fund, and I didn't want to throw a bunch more costs in there. So I thought it was more appropriate for local option sales tax to kind of take that instead of the Recplex Enterprise Fund. And then on the last page is a good list of things where we're getting outside funding or grants or other contributions. This is the share that's covered by those grants and contributions, which is a pretty good number there, $7 million. And obviously the biggest ones are the federal funding through the MPO and then the grants that we're getting for Athene, the pedestrian bridge. But there's several other significant ones on there that we get grants to fund: traffic signals, railroad crossing improvements, et cetera, et cetera. All told, it's $89 million and 102 projects. I'm not going to talk about each project. I'm going to let Parks kind of talk through some of their highlights, have engineering talk through some of their highlights, and then if you guys can fire away with questions after that, that'd be awesome, or if you, I guess, whatever you want, Mayor. But
Let's do real quick questions for Tim at this point in time.
Tim, just one thing on that last page, just out of curiosity, $26 million Holiday Park baseball concessions potentially in 2026? At the very top of page 6.
That should be zero.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if there was a typo because that would
Well,
be, I was like,
think
I
I
don't
copied
know.
a line over.
I assumed it was Recplex that was just double over there.
I copied it over, I'm sorry.
That's a third.
That would be really, really nice.
If there was a grant we were planning on getting for 26 million in 3 years, it would be awesome. But, all right, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's clearly a mistake.
Good
Thanks.
catch.
Good catch, though.
Okay,
We'll
anything else
fix
for
that.
Tim? I guess I just want to make sure, so you talk about bonding for the Athene Bridge. Basically, what we're going to be doing is reserving some debt service amount out of lost. We're going to bond, and then we're going to earmark every year is going to be that
Correct.
debt service every year out of
Yeah,
lost.
well,
for
and
that.
it will mirror in my mind what we did for the Recplex. We
Yeah.
sold a $16 million bond issue to help pay for the construction of the Recplex. And the payments, debt, principal and interest is $1 million roughly a year. So that just comes right off the top
Yep.
before we can even think about spending anything else.
So we're doing kind of a combination of pay-as-you-go and bonding with the lost money now.
We've
for-
done it once, and I think to
Yeah.
get this PED bridge, so we don't have to stall out and wait till all the money comes in.
Yep.
To me, it's prudent to do that.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think the only thing that we have to watch for is if Dawson gets his bill passed and it goes statewide lost, and, Polk County comes on, we lose a little bit of that, but, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, right. And
Well,
then adjusting, did you adjust it, are these numbers adjusted in the out years? Are they adjusted for inflation?
They will be.
Okay.
You mean, the estimates?
Yeah. No, probably not. They're probably present day dollar, right? I'm assuming.
I'm assuming they're present day dollars. Yeah, because we
Okay.
didn't inflate the revenues either for all the extra.
Okay, so it's all
money we're gonna be
apples and
getting,
apples. And then just a general statement, and I think I like what we're doing with the pavement repair. I think we need to be really cognizant of that and put more and more money each year towards pavement repair. Otherwise, we're going to get in the situation that Des Moines in. They can barely even keep their mouth above water, but
The engineering department put together what I thought was a pretty powerful presentation when they showed Tom and I and the budget team kind of the challenges we're going to have with pavement repair. I don't know if they've shared it with any committees yet or not, but
okay.
about 20 years ago, we did a lot of street work when we built the mall and all the streets around there. And it's going to come time where that pavement starts
yeah.
to give way, and we need to invest back in.
No doubt. We got to stay on top of that. All right, who's coming up?
I think
Ryan and Marco? All right.
Ryan, do you know what her presentation was? Sally's?
Just make sure you share the screen. Maybe do that first.
We'll just need to share the screen.
Yeah, see, I only need to open the Teams again. Yeah, you can just hit the window and then pull up her presentation, start slideshow, and run with it.
All right, good evening. Ryan Penning, Assistant Director, Parks and Recreation. Marco Alvarez, Superintendent of Parks, is up here. Like someone mentioned, we just got called up last minute, so we're gonna roll here.
We'll be kind, we'll be kind.
Right. But we're just gonna get started and look at some of this tremendous feedback that we've had from our citizen survey and the bond referendum back in 2015. But as you can see, the citizens of West Des Moines absolutely appreciate the quality of life and what Parks and Recreation has been doing and will continue to do. So, 94% satisfaction rate, not only with quality of life, but overall condition of some of our sports complexes. I guess what Tim didn't know, we were planning on just putting a big dome over those 11 baseball fields down at Holiday Baseball. That's what the $26 million was for. You might see that in next year's CIP list. And also what our residents support, making it easier to travel by bike, protection of wildlife habitat, construction improvement, equipping park and rec grounds, all important things. Not only do we want to do new things, but we obviously have to invest in what we already have. This is a pretty extensive project or process that we probably start, I would say, in August. But we have a 3-year plan, 3 years out. Staff will take recommendations to the facilities committee that is part of our park board. Start working with them and start really prioritizing what are our top projects, not only for the upcoming fiscal year, but obviously 2-3 years out into the future as well. We need to prioritize the renovation of existing parks and trails, and you can see in our top couple projects coming up, that is what we've done. Distribute projects throughout the city, not just looking at the new areas, but obviously the older areas are just as important, and proactively plan for ongoing maintenance and replacement. So once we get to the facilities committee, then it goes to park board, and park board makes this recommendation to you, the city council. Again, we have 13 projects in this upcoming fiscal year, and those are prioritized 1 through 13. I'm going to turn it over to Marco for the specific projects, and then I'll come back at the end and talk about the rec plan.
Thank you. Marco Alvarez, Superintendent of Parks. I'll just quickly go through our list of projects here. Here's just an overview map of where our projects are located. Yellow dots are what's currently funded, and then the red dots is what is proposed for 23-24 budget. So you can see the distribution throughout West Des Moines. Here we, in addition to new projects, we also have ongoing maintenance projects. So here's a list of, we have median renovations, trail renovations, court renovations, and concrete pavement renovation in parks. So again, going back to taking care of what we have. Here's one of, and again, these are ranked from our priority. So this would be our #1 park board priority. That would be the south and north pedestrian bridge replacements at Pearson Park. These bridges are over 20 years old. And so the design and the first half of construction is what we're requesting for this.
So they're how old?
They were originally constructed in 1991. So, again, taking care of what we existingly have. So now we're the play equipment replacement at Crossroads, JC, and Kiwanis. So that's currently with this last current budget year. The design is budgeted, so this would be for the actual construction of the equipment. Play equipment replacement at Asheville and Wild Rose Parks, so this would be the design in getting those projects, those two playgrounds replaced for then construction in 24-25. The Athene Pedestrian Bridge, obviously important project for us, so that would be the remaining for that project. Phase 8 parking lot and entry project at Holiday Park Baseball Complex. This would be the last major phase on that big project, and this would include again the parking lot in the former maintenance yard, and then also improvements to the maintenance facility, outside improvements. Here's an overview of those last phases. Phase 6 was the improvements to the interior of the maintenance building. Phase 7 was just was completed here this last construction season, which involved the renovation of the fields 3 and 4. And then Phase 8, you can see the general area where that work would take place. Next project is the Raccoon River Greenway First Street River Access. This is one of our 5 waters projects. This would construct a river access off of First Street along Greenway that the city owns there to the north of the river. The Quinn Field lighting of the girls softball complex. This would be, we're requesting $100,000 here to go along with the $50,000 that West Des Moines girls softball would contribute towards this project. So that would light their last remaining large field at the complex. The Marathon Loop, this would be Phase 2 of the Sugar Creek Greenway Trail. This would continue the trail north of Stagecoach to Mills Civic Parkway and be a continuation of their Phase 1 that was completed last year. And again, another 5 waters project. Here's just some example images of what that project now looks like. You can see the really heavily cut banks and some of the water quality improvements that would result from the project thereafter, in addition to the trail. Next project, there would be Phase 3 of Valley View Park. So this would include money to design and construct the first half of the central area. This would set up the park for future construction of the loop road to the north, and then also would include the utilities that would serve a future restroom facility to serve the new pickleball courts that were just constructed. But that would be an extensive sewer line in order to help serve that. And then it would just grade that remaining site there for future development. And then here, Phase 4 would be then the design only for the restroom facility that I mentioned here previously to serve the pickleball complex, and then also the design of a maintenance building that would serve the park for grooming equipment and equipment to maintain the fields out there.
So 200,000 for both?
Yes, 200,000 would be to design both. Yes, just the design. So these projects, I want to mention now, projects that we had recommended be included, but is currently not in the list to be funded for this year. But we thought it was important to show them because that's Park Board had them as recommended for this year. So it would be the shelter and restroom at Hidden Point Park.
Where is Hidden Point?
So that is located.
It's hidden. It's over by, Pheasant?
Yes, yep, just north Pheasant Ridge, south of the Wells Fargo complex. So there's a row of townhomes. It's kind of tucked in behind there.
Relatively new park.
Mhm.
Let's say, I don't even know where it's at.
Yeah. So we have the playground equipment and the parking lot's currently constructed. So this would just be continuing to develop that park and put the shelter and restrooms in there. Also the boat locker expansion at Raccoon River Park. They've been super popular. This would be now the third set of the storage lockers in there. The pickleball courts at Scenic Valley Park. This was one that originally we had as tennis courts, but seeing the demand for more pickleball courts in our community, this is one that we looked at and Park Board agreed that it would be good to do pickleball courts here. We originally requested $190,000 for that, but
Why wouldn't we just do the tennis courts and strike them for pickleball so we could have more?
you can accommodate more pickleball courts within the same footprint than what just, and we found that pickleballers and tennis players don't necessarily always get along. They don't like to, they don't like to share. Yeah. And then the pickleball courts then at Wild Rose Park, again, same idea. We put the pickleball courts there to serve that neighborhood.
These last two slides are Recplex related. Renovation addition. So after being fully operating for a year, we need to be more efficient. And what we found is our storage for our concession stand is up on the mezzanine level. It takes you probably 5 minutes to walk back there. We're loading cases of beer, cases of pop from down there all the way back to our main concession stand. So we want to do a walk-in cooler that would be under the main bleachers in the main arena. That is right next to our concession stand, so just operationally much more efficient for us. Expansion of the mezzanine concession stand. Again, our operations, our concession gross last year was over $535,000. So expanding that concession stand up on the mezzanine level would allow for more cooking, prep work and things like that. Would really help that out as well. Those are the main for that renovation project. Again, $12.4 million in economic impact for the fiscal year, or for calendar year 2022. And the last one is expansion study of the Recplex. I'm sure most of you have heard. The response has been outstanding. And we are looking at expansion that would include a third sheet of ice and 1 to 2 more outdoor turf fields. That would also include a concession restroom facility out there. So we've already done the work with SFA to get a pro forma and economic impact study as well. And we would like to work with Shive Hattery on the pre-design to get some more formal cost estimates for that expansion study. So just the outlook of all the Five Waters projects. Again, thank you for your support. I know that really started, the Five Waters project started when Mayor Tremble walked into Sally's office on her first day as interim director and said, you know, I really challenge you and your staff to come up with some game-changing projects, which was in 2016. So, you know, a short 7 years later, we've already got 2 of those done. Third one's starting here in the spring, hopefully, and we're making progress on the other ones as well. And then you throw in a huge project like the Recplex as well. And so, again, appreciate the council's support. We absolutely love what we do. We know these projects are meaningful, not only to us, but our community. We know that they make an impact, and we'd appreciate your support once again. So, can I answer any questions that you might have?
You guys did a great job pinch hitting and jumping in. My God, way to go. Any questions?
Go back to the slide, Marco, where you were talking about back, the rebuilding of the playground equipment. I have an unrelated but concerning question because I saw it in my own neighborhood park. Keep going. And I don't want to talk about it tonight because it's not relevant to this, but I want to ask it and have you guys get back right here. Nope, next, back, right there. Those noodles that go up in the air, what prevents a kid from shimmying up those and falling down and breaking his leg? Not to be answered tonight. Get back to me on that later. Thanks.
Okay.
You know, I often wondered that about the climbing structure that we have that was donated down at Raccoon River Park, but I don't know. Okay, Greg?
We could do like Philadelphia and grease them maybe, but.
Greg?
When it comes to a future playground at Holiday Park, I know we were talking about West Des Moines softball. We were talking about that when it came to hotel motel. Where are we on that? Because I think that would be a big capital improvement. To give everybody some context, a lot of the times West Des Moines softball does a great job at kind of maintaining those facilities. However, are we looking at a partnership with them when it comes to creating a playground for that space? Where are we on that? I know it's kind of a new partnership. Yeah.
We talked with finance and Tom last week about that. We will reach out to girls softball and just bring them in. We have some ideas on how we can work together. We had that project. It's in our CIP list. I think it's for FY 25-26. And so if funding through hotel motel doesn't work or isn't enough, are they willing to wait? Do we move that project up a couple fiscal years in our CIP list? Again, they're great at providing a softball service and those tournaments and things like that. They will be the first ones to admit they are not playground experts. That's where we can help them out. So I plan on reaching out to Gene and Chris, their board president. We'll get them in. We'll figure out what's the best way moving forward, because we know playgrounds are not cheap. They don't have a large footprint to do a big project down there, but where that current playground is probably the best location for it. So we can work with them. We plan on meeting with them hopefully this week, if not next week.
Because their hotel motel request was quite a bit higher because of that specific playground. So, Tom, we can talk about that a little bit too, but I just wanted to hear about that. So, thank you. As long as we're communicating, because as you rightly said, I think we probably do a better job than they do on that kind of capital improvement. So, thank you for that. Thank you for the presentation, gentlemen.
Anything else? No? Matt? No? Kevin?
Good work.
No? Doug?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing I would say is I'd love to see at some point in time with the Five Waters projects, like when do we plan on having these things all like come to complete fruition? Like, I know half the Marathon Loop, for example, is already done, right? So, and you showed, the north section of the Sugar Creek Trail being done here. Like, when do we get to the end? What pace are we on? Same thing with the Greenway project. We have the yurts or the tiny cabins that are going to be in the Greenway for people to camp in and all that stuff. Where does each one land at its final completion? And then, like the Marathon Loop, are we going to fundraise for some of that? So far, right now, we're not, and maybe we're burned out of fundraising, but it almost seems like you could get a company to do a mile. Like this is the Fairway Mile, this is the IMT Mile, and,
Yeah, I think with the.
yeah, the Trevilian Mile.
Of all the projects, I think the Marathon Loop is going to be the one that could potentially take the longest, just because of the southern route along the Raccoon River. A lot of that is currently privately owned, so we're going to have to work with private property owners and trying to acquire some of that land down there.
But do we have, a goal where we're trying to go? Because, we know the resources we have, and we know as a city, like all these other things we're trying to do. What's like an ideal, I don't know, we can talk about that sometime, but I'd like to see an ideal, like, based on where we're going, we're running a 10-minute mile, we're going to be done with this marathon at this time, and, Russ, you'll be dead.
Well, yeah, it's a great question. I wish I knew the answer.
Yeah.
A lot of our Five Waters projects, in fact, really the only funding source we have is local option sales tax.
Yeah.
And we've sucked a lot of that away to keep our tax rate low, $2 million a year. We don't know what the state's going to do with local
Right,
option sales tax. They could take it all away from us next year or this year.
Right.
So it's really hard. I know where you want to go, and I
Well-
want to go there too.
Well-
It's just really hard to know the answer.
And keep in mind, I'm not, let's use it as running a mile. What are we at right now? A 10-minute mile that we're doing? Do we need to slow down to a 13-minute mile? Should we speed up to a 7-minute?
throw something out here too.
I guess that's what I'm looking, based on our budget and everything that we got going and what the hopes and dreams are of the Parks and Rec Department and the board, what we can afford as a city. Do we need to go from a 10, we just wolfed down 3 large pizzas in no time on some of the other quality of life amenities, right? Are we going the right pace? At this pace, where are we going to be? Are we going to finish this marathon in
You got
2050?
Russ, you got a lot of variables, though. One is Capitol Hill. We seriously
Yeah.
are going to be greatly constrained by what they're going to do. So, but we still, one immediate one I'd look at is hotel motel tax.
Yeah.
If we keep doing well on that, I would rather start taking more of that money and put it in our projects instead of
Agreed.
doling out $400,000 a year for other
100%,
stuff.
100%.
So we could start kind of looking at that for another piece of the pie. But we'll look at it and give you, there's fundraising, but what's a mile of trail cost these days?
Million.
$1 million.
Million.
It's not easy.
I just don't know if we need to speed up or slow down.
Well,
We may need
I
to
don't know
slow
what
down.
Slow down, I
I don't
think.
know that
We
we
might
can
need to.
do anything because local option sales tax it's a roller coaster. We got 14 million, then we got 9 million, then we got, the state overpaid us 2 million, we had to give it back. There's all these, it's
Okay.
just, until the money comes in and it's in our account, I don't have a lot of confidence in doing a long-term projection for that.
Okay.
I
I'm just in my
think what
mind-
we need to do, if you're asking me, is prioritize the projects, and as the money comes, then we do whatever we can afford on the projects. It was that's how we tackle this bridge is, well, we got some grants, we got some private donations, we got some lost. Let's fill in the cracks with some bonds and get her done. The next project, whatever that is, if it's the loop, if it's the mini houses or whatever the next one is,
Yeah.
that's where these guys are the experts on what that next is, and you guys, need to decide what that next is after the Ped Bridge. Is it the trail? Is it the whatever?
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah, those are great questions.
All right.
I got to buy you some pizzas.
I need pizzas. I always talk about pizza.
Hey, Ryan, I got a question. Looking at this list, the Five Waters projects, you've got Raccoon River Greenway land acquisition. I thought we owned everything down there.
No. They're still along the Raccoon River, south?
Yeah, well, we're going to put that parking lot and river access. I thought that was all on our land.
East of Raccoon River Park, yes. So between Raccoon River Park and First Street, we do own some. But west of Raccoon River Park, where I'm thinking out towards.
Okay, so this isn't the one down on First Street?
No.
Okay, I was lumping the two of them together because they're listed the exact same Raccoon River Greenway, land acquisition, and then First Street area. But they're
Gotcha.
two different pieces of the
And
Raccoon.
there are still some
Gotcha.
parcels within even that section that still privately owned too, that we're actively working with the property owners to see if we can cover some of that too.
Okay.
Yeah, but one of those is the old West Des Moines Sand and Gravel. I thought they donated that to the city. Have they not done that?
There's still, it's a Corral, portion of Corral that.
Corral has something down there? Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Brian?
Okay. I'm
You
going
got
to
3
start.
minutes. No.
I'm going to start out by saying
2 minutes.
none of this could be possible without Jason Schlickburn. He does like 99.9% of the work. I just present it. So kudos to Jason. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I want to make sure you guys all know that. All right, there's a map somewhere in your packet. Is that correct, Tim?
There is? Nope.
I will put it up. Okay, I thought we were going to put, it's not Tim's fault, it's probably ours. We were going to maybe get it to him, but that's okay. No worries.
Take
no worries.
Jason takes the blame for that one.
You just gave Jason too much credit. Take him down.
You can all see this, so we're going to. Yep, this is my 0.1% and I screwed it up, so. All right, here we go. I'm going to try to get through this fairly quickly. Let's see, I can see that, so that's good. All right, so project number 2 on your map there. I'm going to start on the east side, so kind of keep your focus there. Project number 2 is the Valley Junction Pavers Project. So what this is it's going to be the last section of pavers we're going to be doing. It's behind the VJ Activity Center. It expanded a little bit from what we had originally thought we were going to do. We're trying to pull, and I talked about this at
Public Service
committee. So this is just expanding out and doing some more gathering areas and so on and so forth. So that's what that is. The next project is number 3. That's the East Public Services fueling updates. It's basically new canopy, new tanks, new pumps, fuel software and hardware. We tried to bid this project a couple times, if you recall. No bids once, really high bids another time. But now we're getting to the point where we have to get this done. So we're really looking at what that total project cost is going to be, and that's what's in there now. And so we're hoping we'll get some reasonable bids on the next one. Okay, so number 9 is the LEC garage conversion and HVAC improvements. So this is a pretty big project, as you can see by the numbers there. It's basically new garage addition, converting the Sally Ports and jail into office space, updating HVAC, security fencing, parking lot expansion. It's a pretty big project, but that's the LEC. That's actually taken a pretty good chunk of the GEO money this year. And then we already talked about the Recplex operational improvements. That was discussed with the Parks folks, so I'm not going to go over that one again. Number 25 is the 8th Street reconstruction. That was already bid, but we're going to need to cover some costs with that. So we got some money in, or maybe we don't. No, so we're.
Yeah, it's there. It's just in the 25 year.
Okay.
So that goes out to 24, 25 for construction?
No, we've got money in the bank from STBG, like 3.5 million or so STBG money for that. So that's going to be constructed from basically, we're going to start. I've got to send something out to Tom to send to you on what we're going to be doing on schedule on that. but that's going to be happening real soon. It's going to end in November.
Because I'm confused. Why is 2.4 listed in 24, 25 as potential?
Can you help me out with that one, Tim?
Yep.
It's essentially because we don't have enough to borrow. We have other projects that we're going to lag a little bit behind on paying ourselves back with bonds for that project. We just had to move it to make it fit the pot.
So paying ourselves back, so where's the money come from to construct it?
Well, it'll be loaned, the general fund and.
Okay, general fund reserves, okay.
But we're also getting a large percentage, more than half is coming from a grant.
Okay.
So my thought is use that grant money first and then pay ourselves back on the back end.
Which is the reserve fund we're paying back, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
But I just couldn't borrow that much money all in one
Right,
shot.
okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on. Let's make sure I'm getting the rest of this on the map. I think that's everything right there. Okay. We already talked about that. I can't emphasize enough how important pavement rehabilitation is going to be in the next few years. Thanks, Mayor, for bringing that up. That is, and the more we put into that, the better. We've got so many things happening right now. We are doing a lot of things to not have it be as bad in the future. We're using a different mix. We've been working with Iowa Concrete Paving Association and Iowa State University on a new mix. We've been using it for many years. I presented on it at
I've
the
seen that.
Municipal Street Seminar.
Yep.
And it's holding up really well to all the road salts and everything, and that's what it's meant to do. So we don't think we're going to have this problem as bad moving forward. We just had a stretch of time there where these, like the road salts and then the joint deterioration, and just it's a big problem for a few years there. And we're going to have to do a lot of work on a lot of projects.
So where have we used this new mix at?
We first started using it around Alluvion, Microsoft Alluvion down by Willow Creek, yeah. And then we've used it pretty much on all Veterans Parkway, all Grand Prairie Parkway, all the new projects, and we're making developers use it on anything other than local streets. Local streets typically don't get a lot of salt, or if any, so we're trying to have them put it on like all the collectors and everything too.
What are they, I can't remember what they mix into it. It's like something that makes it go, it's cheaper, but it's more durable.
It has to do with the density, I believe. I don't know. It basically makes it more dense, makes it less permeable for salts to get into it. So it just makes it more dense.
Yeah, I went and visited that and saw how that was, what they were doing out there. I just can't remember specifically.
I'm not a chemist, and I don't know all those things.
It's a cool thing.
But I know it works. I know it works. We've been watching it, and it's a good deal. So I went off on a small tangent there, but I'll get right back on track.
Thank you.
So,
No, I meant for filling us in on that, because again, I wasn't sure how many streets we had it. So
there's a lot.
It's been tested.
Yes.
And now we've got some data to say that, yes, this does work.
I've got a lot of good pictures from Alluvion. We had some issues with when we first started building them, like with workability, and there's some issues with just the way it looks in some places, but we've kind of overcome those, and we think we've got it down to a science. They don't like using it because it's not as easy to work with as other concretes, but they really have gotten it better.
Okay, good.
Do you think that this is enough for pavement rehab?
No, I want to probably parking lot this one for another discussion. I think it was Tim that mentioned we have a really good presentation on this. I'd like to show you kind of the big picture and where we think we're going to be. And no, I don't think it's enough. And I don't know where that money's going to come from. And if we want to,
this is one of those things once you get behind on.
Yes, you don't want to.
I was just in South Bend, Indiana, and drove into a pothole that was 6 feet wide and 12 feet deep. And it doesn't matter if you're going 5 miles an hour or 50.
Did you lose your truck or what?
I thought I was going to lose my tire.
They call those sinkholes. But the problem, just so you know, the problem that you have here is that you're trying to balance city buildings, new roads,
Yeah.
maintenance of existing roads, and parks and rec amenities all in one
Yeah,
deal.
Right.
yeah. And, yeah, we just got to we're going to have a discussion about that overall condition index and where we want that to be. We have it set at a certain spot now. It may have to be lowered just a little bit to be able to keep going the way we are with the amount of money we have.
Okay.
So the roads might not be in as good a shape all the time.
Question.
Don't say that.
Tim, when the public services building is paid off, when we have additional road use funds to be put in this direction?
Yeah.
Okay, and how long is that?
At the rate we're going, it'll take about 5 years.
Okay, well, there is some
There's light
daylight.
At the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
How much is going to be freed up from that roughly? Couple mil?
2 mil a year,
Well,
isn't it?
Yeah, we're trying to carve off at least $1 million a year off of what we still owe, which is, Chris probably remembers better than I, 7 million, 6 million, 7.5. So
We're still paying back DOT.
paying ourselves back out of road use tax.
Oh, paying ourselves back.
Yeah.
We've got the DOT paid off, right, for what we owed them. We had a couple projects where we,
We didn't use the DOT for the public services building.
okay.
We financed all of that.
No, I know, but we owed the DOT. Never mind.
We still owe
That's another conversation.
Highway 5 that's just got a couple years left.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you see all the projects that are like 62 through 60, well, and 69 there, all that area down by the future Grand Experience. These are all projects that are going to be funded through the Grand Experience, except for project number 69. That'll be done through the Ginger West URA, just because of where it's located. But that is a project that needs to be done because of the Grand Experience. So basically, you're talking, Jordan Creek Parkway widening, 88th Street improvements, paving Boonville, Grand Avenue widening all the way through there, and then doing some upgrades to Raccoon River Drive as well, like putting in some turn lanes at like 88th Street. So those are all projects that need to be done, and we spelled it all out. We know, based on the schedule of Grand Experience, once we get it going, we know when we have to do these, and we think we have a pretty good schedule if they follow their schedule the way they say they are.
Brian, the Raccoon River Drive, 68, that one is actually a state highway, right? Highway 90?
It's a county road, I believe but it's ours to maintain.
Ours to maintain.
Yeah.
So, so it's county, not state?
It's F90 is a county road.
Okay, so that's going to be maybe a little easier to work with than the state and trying to get coordinations and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, so let's skip down to number 71. Let's see, is that on there? Yep. So that's Mill Civic Parkway, widening 81st to 88th Street. So Tim told us that we have a little bit of extra money in that URA, so why not widen Mill Civic Parkway a little ways out to 88th Street? So we're going to try and get that done and with that TIF money. And then we have Stagecoach Drive, 78th to 81st. So this one is, we're building that one piece just west of Jordan Creek Parkway. There was that big ravine we filled in. We graded it all the way to 81st Street, so it's ready to go. We're not going to build, this is time-sensitive type stuff, or not sensitive, but it's timing based. So when things start coming in and there's improvements coming in, then we'll think about getting the rest of that done. But right now, we don't have anything in that, anything of significance in that URA, so we're going to hold off. So we'll just wait for Tim to give the green light. Yep, we've got enough in this area. We'll get it built.
You're talking about 71.
72, Stagecoach, yep. So, the Mills Civic Parkway widening, that money's already there. That one can go right away.
Okay.
And then 74 Southeast Adams, we're working right now with the folks out there. That's the piece we worked on with the waterworks. They built the water tower. We needed to get it paved out to there, already under design, and we'll be constructing that. So this is the construction money.
They can't see your 74.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right down here by the water tower. Whoops. Okay. Almost done. So 79, 80, and 81 are three sewer enterprise projects. Grand Avenue West, segment 6DB, we had a developer asked to get that extended. All these are fee district projects that we're required to build as part of the fee districts. That one is just a small piece just south of Mills, kind of goes behind Tiburon and then up through the new stuff that Jerry Busmus is building. Segment 8 sewer, that is already bid, and that number matches what we got the bid for, and that was one of the series of those projects where we rebid them and got substantially lower prices because of some design changes we did and research that we did. So, and then the same with segment 4 and 10. That was actually we just awarded that tonight. So that just covers whatever money we didn't have in there. All right, moving on. Nothing on this page. I'm almost done, I think. All right, oh, and then the Sunset Ridge sewer. We're gonna get reimbursed that sewer fully from a developer. So Jamie Myers is looking at the Cosgriff property. There is a piece of sewer that we extended as part of the fee district. We needed to get a little bit farther to get to their development. They didn't want to have to work with the property owner to the south. We said we would go ahead and get it built for them, but they had to reimburse us all the money. We've done this before, but we're going to do things a little differently this time to make sure that we're covered. The last time we had to go through a lot of hoops to get our money back. This time we're going to make sure we have a bond in place in case they default so that we can get all of our money back. So we learned from that experience, but I think this is a good use, and the Millers are the ones we're going through, and they're good with the project, so no issues there.
And everybody's been well-versed on what's going on for this, because this came before F&A. Everybody's good to go. The Millers are good. Jamie Myers, everybody's on the same page. And we have the best route, not just for the Millers, but also the most cost-effective route to go through.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Glad to hear it.
Okay, and then the last one, this is, so Mill Civic Parkway. Oh, I'm sorry, number 96. I don't know what, I have different pages than you guys do.
96, yeah.
So 96 is the last one that I want to talk about, and that is Mill Civic Parkway. We are going to be widening Mill Civic west of 91st Street all the way out to Grand Prairie eventually. This is the first of those projects. It is a bridge over Sugar Creek, and I believe is it a bridge over culvert on Fox? Culvert on Fox Creek. And this is just the beginning of getting that going. If we get those done, then all the rest of the projects are going to go a lot more smoothly.
Is that not annexed yet?
Not yet.
It isn't right now, no. But we've assumed maintenance of all of Mills Civic Parkway via 2080 agreement from the county. And yeah, we don't want to let Mills go any farther because we've already patched a living bejesus out of it for a long time, and it's very expensive. So we want to just get this done we've got some STBG money, and I think some eventually urban renewal money if some things get built out in the Torchlight URA.
We have enough to do this, at least.
For now, and then the rest of it, hopefully if some big things go in out there. That's really all I had. There's a lot of other projects, obviously, but for the sake of time, I burned through it pretty quickly.
Thank you.
Any questions for Brian at all?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
I'm going to take about 30 seconds, I hope, just what's left in the process. So obviously, if you have questions about any of these, let us know. You could either funnel them through me or talk to Brian or the parks or whoever you feel like needs to answer your questions. Eventually, this will show up, just the 23-24 numbers in our overall budget in the appropriate place in the budget under capital projects.
and then the spending will track through those pots of monies. We'll also be having very soon a bunch of public hearings on GO bonds. I don't know, Mayor, you remember you have to read like 6 or 7 of them in a row. That'll be coming probably in March as well to authorize the city to go out and borrow the GO bond monies that we need. So, and then ultimately, we're still looking at March 20th as the approval date for the budget. Our thought is whatever the legislature comes up with, we'll handle it through an amendment after we get the budget done, after the 1st of July. So that's what's left in the process. We really, if you guys have any questions, and we covered this stuff super fast. We could have probably spent 30 minutes on 25 of these projects each, easy, but we've talked about a lot of them at committees and so on and so forth. So if you have questions, shoot them now or later, whatever is your preference.
I just have a quick question. So we did, I think, maybe last summer, we did some bonds early because of anticipated rate hikes on the interest side of things.
Yep.
Looking at what happened maybe a week ago or so, or looking at CPI data saying it's a little hotter, and now there's a lot of talk about more jumps on the Fed funds rate. Is it something we should explore in advance of March?
Well, we're only 8 days away from March.
Well, I guess whenever.
Yeah, no, but before
Yeah.
we sell the bonds, I'll talk to PFM about that. I know Suzanne's been super swamped with trying to calculate the effects of all this legislation on every city's debt service rates. So I will ask that question. I know she's conservatively estimated 5% for, this would be for non-taxable, which is, we were about 4 when we did stuff last summer. So hopefully we're still in the game, but if we can save money by doing it through a private placement of some sort, that's what we did last year. I think that'd be fantastic to try and do that again. Yeah, good point. I'll follow up on that.
Anything else? Anything else for the good of the order before we're done? Nope. All right. We are adjourned.
Thank you.